day the sun obeyed a man. There are days, and then there are divine interruptions. Not every miracle is thunder and fire. Some are quiet, some are wild, but some, like this one, tear through the fabric of creation and leave the world gasping. This was not just another day in Israel's journey. This was the day the sun stood still. A moment so rare, so raw, so heaven-touched, that even the skies paused in awe. Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' successor, a man forged in the wilderness, sharpened in war, and now leading a nation into promise. He had seen walls fall flat at Jericho. He had watched rivers split like curtains before a king. But nothing could prepare him for this. The kings of the Amorites, 5 rulers bound by fear, had formed a pact, not out of unity, but out of terror. Terror at what God was doing through Israel. They didn't understand it, so they tried to stop it. They marched on Gibeon, a city under Israel's protection, and Joshua responded swiftly. But he didn't just bring soldiers, he brought God into the battle. Israel marched through the night, relentless, unstoppable. Heaven watched, holding its breath. And then, as the sun peeked over the horizon, war exploded across the hills. Steel against steel, cries rising into the air like smoke. But the first blow wasn't Israel's. The Bible says, "The Lord threw the enemies into confusion and hurled down hailstones from heaven. More died from the hail than by the sword." Joshua chapter 10, verse 10 to 11. Even the weather had joined the fight. The sky itself fought for God's people. But then, Joshua saw something, not in the enemy camp, not on the battlefield, but in the sky. The sun was dipping, and with it, the opportunity. If night fell, the enemy would escape into the shadows, regroup, retaliate, and delay what God had already said was theirs. Time, the one thing man cannot command, was running out. And so, Joshua did what only a man who knows his God could dare to do. He lifted his face, dirt-streaked, blood-spattered, warrior heart pounding, and he spoke to the sun. "Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon over the valley of Ajalon." Not a whisper, not a wish, but a declaration. A command from earth backed by the courts of heaven, and the unthinkable happened. The sun stopped, the moon held its place. Time, that ancient master, bent at the word of a servant of God. The Bible says, "There has never been a day like it before or since, a day when the Lord listened to a man." Surely the Lord was fighting for Israel. Joshua 10:14. It wasn't just about the light, it wasn't even about the battle. It was about a man who knew his God. A man who dared to believe that nature itself must obey when heaven is in motion. A man who didn't pray small prayers to a big God, but prayed big prayers, because he knew just how big God truly is. And what about you? You staring at time slipping through your hands. You standing on the edge of purpose while night threatens to fall. You who feel the promise near, but the pressure rising. What if you prayed like Joshua? What if your faith was bold enough to ask heaven to wait until you've won? What if your prayer wasn't about surviving the dark, but commanding the light to stay? Because here's the truth. The God who listened to Joshua still listens today. So cry out, not in fear, but in faith. Declare over your situation, "Sun, stand still. God, give me time to finish. Hold the light, Lord, until I take what you've given." Because when heaven backs you, even time must obey. The sun stood still because one man believed God wouldn't move on until his promise was fulfilled. But don't miss this. Joshua didn't pray this prayer to show off. He didn't speak to the sun for applause. He wasn't trying to make history. He was trying to obey destiny. Because when you're walking in divine assignment and you've come too far to turn back, you realize it's not about time serving you. It's about time serving God's plan through you. So what's standing in your way? A wall? A delay? A clock that's ticking too fast? Maybe what you need is not more time, but more courage to ask for heaven's help. Maybe you've been praying small because you forgot who's listening. You are a vessel, a warrior, a voice in sync with divine will. And when the battle gets heavy, when the light is slipping, when your hands are tired and your heart is racing, don't just wish, speak. Lift your eyes and declare, Son,